We would sit down every 6 months or so and we'd write down what keeps us up at night, what wakes us up in the morning. And those things are the things that you get so excited by that you can't sleep. What is hard to do? The hard means you just keep putting it off. Constantly look at those lists every 6 months and go, let's take out everything in our business that's in the too hard basket and let's make it all the stuff that keeps us up at night and wakes us up in the morning.
So we had always this filter of like, would you do it for free? Because if you do it for free, then it must be something you might be passionate about, or yeah, that's a great client, or it's something. Filter helps you truly identify what your vision is.
It sets your
course. And I
course.
think vision and your course is so crucial for entrepreneurs. There are a lot of distractions and a lot of different opportunities.
Ultimately, if you're going to be an entrepreneur and then you end up doing it and it's so hard, or you don't like so many parts of it, then why don't you just get a job? Because at least you guaranteed your pay, right?
Welcome back to TFC Business Show. I'm your host, Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut. And
I am your occasional coconut, Judson.
hey, not as occasional anymore. I think the audience have already accepted it. You know, you're part of the crew.
Thank you.
Yes, and
Still occasional. Sometimes
put in
here,
the comment
sometimes
section.
not here.
Put in the comment section. Right. But yeah, I think more importantly, we have some occasional guests.
Wow.
You know, they it's the first time together with us. You know, and but I think they have been around like in the space.
They have been around in the space,
Yeah.
and today's recording is very important to me because they have been covered many times, but in the current news cycle, nationally speaking in Singapore, I was the first one to cover them. And then the media outlets started to cover them. And then I was like, we need to invite them onto this show properly to talk about their business. And so today we have the folks and founders from Cinewav. We have Christian, and then we have our Green Power Ranger. We will start with that.
I have a name. Hi, I'm Jason. I'm the Green Power Ranger, and that's it.
It's okay. You can drop that. You know, like people. You know, we can move on from the Green Power Ranger thing.
I don't think I'll ever move on from that, but it's a good thing. I really love it. What a great sort of franchise to be part of, and gets me a lot of attention, opens doors, and then allows me to do other things.
Yeah. But let's move on from that,
Yeah,
right? In today's discussion, we're going to talk about the business and your journey and all that. Yes. And
Christian here, his sidekick, trustee. That's Jason, that is. Co-founder of Cinewav, and really honored actually to be here. I hope we have enough, knowledge to share and stories to tell to entertain everyone.
I'm sure. I heard so much about it. Yeah. Like because I think you know lah. We record many episodes in a day, right? You can tell we don't have some like wardrobe, makeup, changing our outfit and all that, right? So we're as grounded as it gets, yeah. So when I heard like, oh, we're gonna talk about this, I was like, huh? What is this thing, right? And then he came and shared the story. So, because they were actors, they came here and then they did this, and then there was a lockdown, and then they are now like signing big deals. I was like, oh, this is a good story. Yeah. So forget all that whole like Green Ranger rubbish, right? So I mean, not
rubbish.
No. Okay. but that is like, like it's been covered. People already know you. But today we want to focus on like the founder journey, right? Like, and then the business, like what brought you here. Yeah. So maybe,
Because it's not common to have professional actors transition into being tech founders, basically.
Say actor cannot do business.
No. I have no clue. I'm not clued into the local media corp circle. I'm not clued into Hollywood, definitely not clued in. I always have this impression that once you're an actor, you will die trying to be famous and make loads of money. Is that true? Has that been true? Why did you transition to become founder?
Has a lot of stories.
Yeah, it's really interesting because we talk about it all the time. We see people that we've acted with go on to do bigger things, and we sometimes reflect on, does it cause any pain when you hear that, one of your colleagues went on to do David Letterman and signing big deals, doing films and everything. But we've heard stories from that side as well. Some of my friends are in Hollywood, and it's not an easy job. In fact, a lot of tears involved. A lot of your life is wasted because you're waking up at 4 a.m. I mean, the shows that we've done as well. You wake up at 4 a.m, you get into makeup and hair at 6. The whole day's gone. You get home, you're just learning lines. And for some of my friends who have done like regular series, that's 5 to 10 years of their life gone before they'll do a movie here or there. And I think what we discovered in our, short careers as actors is we just weren't telling the stories we wanted to tell anyway. So then you'd get on set and you think, this must be the dream life, but it wasn't the dream. It was like, I don't really love the work that much, and I don't really love the stories we're telling. So why are we here? And that's where we bonded as actors, fellow actors complaining as usual. We would sit around and say, oh, we need better scripts. So we decided we've got to write them because no one else was going to do it. So we tried, and we failed a lot of times until we got little breakthroughs. That was our journey.
Why do you choose Singapore? I mean, our showbiz circle is so small.
Delusion.
There's a period of time there were a lot of big houses that started coming in, but very quickly they all left.
I mean, I think we each have a slightly different story of why Singapore, but for me, it was acting school in New York and then finally landing what we call a theatrical agent, which is somebody that doesn't book you commercial work. They book you real acting work. And you feel like, okay, that's one milestone. Now maybe I can get that big break. And then back in the day, it's different now. There are very few roles for Asian males, English speaking, How many accents have I done? Okay, delivery guy, Chinese gang member, you name it, I've done it. Computer scientist, engineer, doctor. I've been a doctor.
Yeah.
Chinese
so lucky
gang
this one, huh? Lucky this one. Asian superhero. Sorry, bringing it up again.
Yeah.
But that is huge.
That was very rare.
But you had a question?
No, Chinese gang member. How do you work in? What is the accent?
What is a if you do it today? I mean, okay, I know that's not like our main thing, but if you do it today, how will you represent a Chinese gang
We're not going to go there because actually is one thing that happened when I did a telemovie in China that really it was that a white actor, I won't mention names, very famous A-lister, Emmy Award winning, was playing a very famous historical person, Kublai Khan, and he wanted to do full slanted eye, yellow makeup, everything right, and it was to the point where another one of the cast members said, "If he does that, I'm out." And I had the call up like, "He's going to drop out. We need you to take over that role. Can you learn those lines the next day?" And then I was just like, "Oh my God!" The pressure of like, what am I representing and what does it mean? Because you just want to break. Am I going to sell out? And it was just, thankfully he dropped that whole like doing the slanted eye thing, and the project got made. But that was really me getting out of it. I was delusional. Like, is it really going to change in Hollywood that much? Back in the day, that's what I was faced with. So that started the spark. And then, of course, that helped me to say, I have to get to Asia. And why Singapore? Well, at the time, there was 2 television stations in English, okay, doing productions and really great theater in English. Okay, I can do that. Chinese is horrible. Don't even make me try, huh? 不会, huh? And so I was like, I part of me just loves travel. So that's when I ended up coming here. And what was going to be 3 weeks, if I didn't get work, go to Bali, go back to New York.
Oh my God.
Turned out to be 9 months.
When was this?
2000.
2000. Okay. And that was a period where actually a lot of new celebrities came out because there was a lot of competition.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, but also you got warnings that, if you work for that other TV station, forget about working for ours ever again.
It's still the same. There are those 2 guys, right? So it's still the same. Nothing has changed. But yeah, that is the sad story of a lot of actors actually, right? I have a lot of friends. I mean, the joke is, I'm an actor. Oh, which restaurant do you work at? So that's but that's even lower tier, right? That's kind of how everyone starts. And then you guys already had opportunity, so you were already moving up, but at some point, it didn't jive, couldn't go further.
I think that's the interesting part that, I'd love to, if we could, speak to our younger selves, but I don't think our younger selves would listen. The younger selves are so caught up in the ego and everything of I want to be the star, that they would never listen to the older person saying, actually, you want to find what you love to do. And I don't think you found it yet. And we never found, I think either of us found that absolute love in acting and being on stage. Because I would remember we'd get on stage, finally rehearse the whole show and everything, and love that process of finding out how this character works, how this play works, how to tell the story, but hated the actual production process or the actual performances. I was like, oh, this is so boring. Can we finish already? I'm done. So, and then when I discovered that I would only choose jobs based on where it would take me, like I'd choose hosting the Beijing Olympic Games rather than a long-running TV series, that's when I realized I don't actually love this that much. I love adventure, and then I really like storytelling. So I've got to get back to that somehow, and that's how we kind of bonded. We sort of talked a lot about that and realized, okay, we've got to make that change then. We've got to start telling stories. And saying what I think Christian said, look, I'm getting older. We need a real job, or we really need a real career. Like we can't just, be freelancers for the rest of our lives. And that's when we started, reading about business and, I gave him the Robert Kiyosaki book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he came back after his stint in China. He came back and said, we should do something about this. Like we should start some sort of business, some passive cash flow, something. We got to grow up.
Do you know that story is not real?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He made it up.
Yeah. He made it up.
Well, it's a good made-up story.
Yeah,
and it's powerful,
So you give credit for how the story inspired you to change, but just to be very clear, it's not a real story. But it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, that gives, credibility to all films. Like films inspire people. Most of them aren't real, right? They're stories.
Okay. So how did that first business venture look like?
So if you're coconuts, we
were bananas. So it was Banana Mana was our first business, and it was.
He's not joking.
Yeah. No.
We said, hey, if Yahoo and Google's name can be big, hey, Banana Man.
Apparently in Singapore, you just got to choose fruits. We're tropical, not a lot of imagination. You look around the garden, you go, okay, coconuts is taken. Banana. It was crazy. We wanted something, memorable, and we were bananas, yellow on the outside, white on the inside. Came from overseas. So we thought, banana fits us. We're trying to find where we fit in. But it was basically a business. We were going to create a directory for businesses like Alibaba. We wanted to create this directory, and because it was back in, when did we start it? It was
2009.
2009. Internet had just taken off a little bit.
YouTube 2006. So
no one was using the internet. There was no web pages. And we went to all these businesses and said, hey, what if we put you as a listing here, like as a plumber, a doctor, a dentist, painter. We put you here on the website. You get a listing and people can call you. And they were like, I already have my 1 inch in Yellow Pages. Why do I need this for?
That's like Craigslist, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's right. Craigslist was out at the time. And so we wanted to redo that in a way, make it really look good. I had created something called AADB, which is an actors database. So it was actors could put their profiles there, and then people like MediaCorp were using it to put auditions, and actors could, match that way. And that was doing okay. And I said, Christian, I can just pivot this. I can take that software and we just use this for listings for businesses. And no one really bought. We were like, $360 a year. You're going to get this listing, and we'll make you a free video, like a little video for 1 or 2 minutes about what your business is like. The only thing that people liked is, maybe I'll make the video. I don't get this, but I'll make the video. I can send it around to people. We ended up making videos to put on YouTube, and we ended up getting pretty good at making these 1-minute videos that we were ranking really well on YouTube for their businesses. And so we got known for just making these short videos. We're like, this is crap though. Our database is not growing. No one's interested in being online. They were paying $20,000 a year to have 1 inch in Yellow Pages.
Those were the
days. They
days.
wouldn't pay $360 to have a video and a listing so there is that. It's so true that when you're too early, you will fail. So we felt that we're kind of too early. We can see the future. This will work, but too early and we're going to just grind away and fail, just pitching to all these people for tiny amounts of money. So what ended up happening is that we just started pitching more and more towards the video side because we liked it anyway. We like, oh, it's production. Maybe we'll learn how to produce stuff. And we ended up pitching for corporate projects, much bigger budgets.
That's right. Our first one was the Prime Minister's Office, PS21, which is public servants thinking outside the box. There's actually a division. And so they had a pitch for someone to creatively come up with some videos that sort of had public servants think outside the box. And so right away we said, let's pitch for this. Hey, we know what we'll do a Matrix parody. And at the time, I think we called them web videos, online videos. We weren't sure what they were called. So we really didn't have any idea of what to do, except that we just wanted to be filmmakers. And like, this is a chance to do a corporate video that was not a corporate video. It was going to be a real like short film. Yeah. So we produced a two-part series. It's still online, still on YouTube somewhere in there. And we had a blast. I think we were at the top of the Treasury building, the circular one, running around with like steady cams at the time when you had to calibrate them and running around shooting this thing. And that's when we realized we had a real knack for persistence on trying to make something that looked like crap look better. Like we reshot, but just kept at it. And that's when we said, okay, this is what we're passionate about is this production thing, not this web directory thing.
So whenever we found what we truly liked, that's when it kind of clicked and said, we truly like doing this. Let's move towards there. And anytime we do something that we don't really like, we'll have to try and take it away or reduce doing that. We were very, very, I guess we didn't have much energy for anything we didn't like dealing with clients, for example. So we didn't last very long in the corporate production world because we were dealing with clients who said, I don't like that color of that shirt, after they approved it on set.
Yeah.
We're like, well, you were there on set, right? And you approved it, right? Here's the approval. Yeah, well, I don't like it now. Change it. Okay, well, we have to go back on set. You understand that, and we have to bring everyone back to shoot it. No. No extra budget. Well, that's what we have approvals for. We have a system. So we couldn't stand this, and we couldn't stand the hierarchical way that they treated us sometimes. You know, we're paying for you so I can scream at you, I can shout at you, I can write rude emails at you. And we were just, not used to that. And so very quickly we said, look, we did this thing called, well, I don't know what we called it. We would sit down every 6 months or so and we'd write down, what keeps us up at night, what wakes us up in the morning. And those things are the things that you get so excited by that you can't sleep. Sometimes you find something and you go, I'm doing research and I went to sleep at 3 a.m. because I just went down this rabbit hole and I can't get it out of my head. Or it wakes you up early in the morning, just like computer games used to when you were a kid, right? You get up and you just got to get to it straight away. What is hard to do, and by hard, I don't mean it's actually difficult for your brain or physically difficult. The hard means you just keep putting it off until you have to do it. We put that in the hard basket. And what's easy to do is the stuff that you get up and you go, I'm doing it. You make that list. And there were 4 of us at the time when we started. We would make these lists and then we would share them. And we realized that the 2 of us always had the same stuff on our list. The other 2 had very different things, very different ones, needs and stuff. And we realized, what they want is very, very different. It doesn't really fit where we're going. And we realized this all together. And so eventually it ended up with just the 2 of us. But what we would also do is constantly look at those lists every 6 months and go, let's take out everything in our business that's in the too hard basket. And let's make it all the stuff that keeps us up at night and wakes us up in the morning and is really easy to do. Even though a lot of that stuff is actually incredibly challenging. We love hacking technology. We love looking at huge problems and trying to work out how can we do this cheaper, better, faster. Most people don't love that. They like to just do what they are good at doing every day. And once we identified that, we were very quick to cut out a lot of things, including clients. And then we said, how the hell are we going to run a business with no clients?
I actually remember the day Jason said, okay, I think we have to go and get some more clients and, keep this, dream alive, keep this business alive. And I came at him with this. So we had always this filter of like, would you do it for free? Which was, if an opportunity came up, would you do it for free? Because if you do it for free, then it must be something you might be passionate about, or that's a great client, or it's something. So I put a little slant on it and said, would you pay to do it? And I mean, this is the title. Like, I have no idea. Are we really entrepreneurs? But anyhow, he's saying we got to get more clients because, the bank account's dwindling with no money. And I'm saying there's some opportunities. Would you pay to do this opportunity? And at the time, Toggle, which is this new online channel, had this opportunity, call for pitch. And, it can be racy. It's not government funded. We just need some new content. And I said, would you pay to do a series, a real true TV series or a web series? And he was like, yeah, I would pay to do that. And I'm like, I would too. So we called them up and said, can we get a meeting to pitch? I mean, and the rest is history. We had our first web series that then went on to being a television series that went on primetime slot. Was it 8 p.m. on MediaCorp, right?
It was really powerful because when he changed that to would you pay to do it, it was really interesting because we had some jobs, 5-figure jobs coming in. Suddenly we were good enough then that people started saying, yeah, I'll give you $20,000, $30,000 to do this job. It's like, Christian, this is not hard for us. It's pretty straightforward. And then he would just say, would you pay to do it? Okay, if I had to pay to do it, of course I wouldn't do it. Of course. No way. Then he said, then we're not doing it. And that was a really amazing filter.
You can let us know what you think of this.
Wait, when you say, would you pay to do it, you're asking
in other words, turn it away.
Turn it away. Yes.
Turn it around.
Yeah. Would I pay to do it? So if I film a series on my own dime, will I do it?
Yeah,
right?
I'll bump you forward and then we'll get back. Yeah. But when we did our first feature film, we asked ourselves, would you pay to do it? Would you pay to fly to Japan and shoot something beautiful? And we said, yeah, we would. And so just by connecting to what we were really passionate about and what we wanted to do gave us not only the drive, like it's monumental to do a feature film, to write it, produce it, like just everything. But the minute we got in contact with or connection with that strong sense, that inner fire, then like it was magical. It was not only magical, but then the money came. I don't know how the universal lines like that, but the money does come. And like, then you get paid to do it.
Is this a acting tactic to reframe your mind for a certain scene?
It is
kind of
now.
thing?
It is. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm sorry if we're off point here.
No,
This is all interesting.
I do think that's a fallacy, but later we'll go there later. Okay?
Yes. Part of me.
So the acting technique that we used to practice and we developed very early on is this yes and game. There's something in acting that we learn in acting school. It's called yes and improvisation skill. And so it's something like where if we improvise, I would come up to you and say, hey, Judson, I've got a present for you. And then you'd have to say something straight away, look at my hand, and you'd have to say, oh, I love frogs.
Okay.
And then I would say, yeah, it's a frog that burps gold. And you'd say, oh,
you'd accept the gift.
You'd accept the gift.
Build.
So in other words, it's yes and. You have to say yes and. A remarkably difficult thing to do. So in acting school, we play this every day. And people fail all the time because we're so used to, as people, say no all the time. Because I hate gifts. Or I don't like frogs. Is the natural reaction. Who said I liked frogs? And you see this in life all the time, in everyday business and everyday group situations that I might just say, hey, Reggie, maybe we can do something different with the lights. Oh, that would be expensive. Or it's just even a reaction. We just go, that's a no. The minute you say no, we can't improvise anymore. So actors, when they improvise, they have to learn to listen to each other and accept straight away, right? It's one of the most basic games, but many actors fail and fail and fail for forever sometimes. And even a lot of the actors that we work with, constantly, they still haven't, really adopted it very well. And you can see it. He didn't accept what he just said. They're not actually building on each other. So that's the concept. Then we brought it to business and he said, we should always say yes and. So whatever crazy idea you have or I have, we need to say yes and then build on it. So it's yes, and we'll do this. So I would say, you know what? I really want to make something in Japan. And instead of saying, what? Or we don't speak Japanese, or how would we ever do that? He'd go, yeah, what about we do it in Okinawa, and why don't we make a film, something we haven't done before? And I'd say, that's a great idea. Let's go to the film market. I know they always have an Okinawan booth. Let's see all the booths and see which prefecture we get. That sort of thing. So that was really powerful when we first started out, and still is today, because neither of us would ever say no. So whatever crazy idea it is, you have to build on it. That was the rule. And even in our creative work early on, we would say no, and it really killed everything. And so creatively, when we were making the film, Christian, please, I wrote this song. You can't just go, oh, it's not as good as the last one. Oh yeah, this melody doesn't. It's just yes and, because immediately it takes that first idea and builds on it straight away. Oh, you know what? That would go really beautifully in this section because it has this tone about it that gives you this randomness that I love. And then you build. Like, oh, you know what? Yeah, let's put it together and let me see if I can customize it to that section. So it really builds. Whereas creatively, if you said, nah, it doesn't, I don't know where it fits. Done.
Yeah, that's the magic actually of our partnership. If you go, well, 15 plus years, how do you creatively work together? How do you shoot a feature film in Japan? How do you build a mobile app that's never been done, doing something, world first? And it is this ability to not only yes and, but by doing that, you keep it very optimistic and positive, and you can get around to compromise. Eventually, if you need someone to see something else, but you never kill it. Otherwise, I think that would kill. I think it does kill partnerships, and co-founders that the company dissolves because of those disagreements. So that's how we keep ours alive.
That's interesting because I'm always the one that like, huh? What is this? So I come from a very different school of thought, right? It's we got to be real, be practical, and then maneuver around, right? So maybe a fun fact is that whatever you were experiencing in production, it hasn't changed. Your touch point are probably more savvy these days with production and all that, but same problems. So great that you're out of the business, right?
Oh, we're very happy.
Yeah, great that you're out of the business. We'll get to the newer updated business, in a moment. Yeah, but on the fallacy note, that's the part I cannot square of this like. Just do your best, and the universe will do the rest. This is a part.
Yeah,
that is like,
I was half joking on that, but I do.
I'm glad you're joking.
But
yes.
I do believe that filter helps you I truly identify what your vision is.
It sets your
course. And I think vision and your course is so crucial for entrepreneurs because it's just bloody difficult, right? And then there are a lot of distractions and a lot of different opportunities. So many that sometimes, it's very overwhelming and you can take wrong courses and really just waste a lot of time and energy. So I think identifying the vision by just putting it through our little filter. I mean, everyone has their own, but ours is, half jokingly, we just say, yeah, would you pay for it? Because it's like, yeah, I would. That's something I'd invest in, right? Yeah. That's something and
that's what you're doing as entrepreneurs, right? Ultimately, if you're going to be an entrepreneur and then you end up doing it and it's so hard or you don't like so many parts of it, then why don't you just get a job? Because at least you guaranteed your pay, right? And it's hard, but it's so much harder than getting a job that you better find out the one true thing that you love doing and that you'll get up every morning to do. Otherwise, don't. Just find a job. It's much better.
Yeah. Fair. I have no disagreement.
Yeah, so initially I thought that my assumption was that Cinewav was a hard pivot in your career. Like,
In terms of filmmaking, like we kind of saw the writing on the wall. We just like, we got to get out of this industry. I mean, this is after making an award-winning feature film that, you know, was one of the longest running in Singapore. And like, we got to shop this more, you know, and then let's
did
get
you
ready
just say
to
longest running film in Singapore?
Yeah, through Golden Village. So it's 2.5
What's the
plus
name
years
of the film?
before
Jimami
COVID,
Tofu?
before Circuit Breaker.
So still a lot of people don't know about it. It's okay. We ran, to be fair, we ran 2 nights a week in GV, but we ran for 2.5 years. So it gave us this, you know,
This accolade.
kind of accolade where even the general manager of GV said it's now the longest running film in Singapore cinemas. And a lot of people started asking him, how do we get that sort of accolade? How do we get this new distribution model? Because what we discovered with that was that if we make it available, people will come. We were selling out till 2.5 years, like the entire hall.
Every Wednesday and
Every-
Saturday, 8 p.m. slot.
Yeah. So the prime slot or
We had to
7:30
pay
p.m.
first, called four-walling. Yeah, right?
So essentially, GV didn't want to give us the space. No one wanted to give us the space, essentially. And we understand the model now because they're all losing money. So they said, why would I take Spider-Man out of that hall to put your film in? If you want to put your film in, you've got to guarantee me half the hall every time. So we don't make a cent until 50% of the hall is filled, and then we start to make a little bit of money. But so we had to rely on just word of mouth. But word of mouth was incredible from Singapore. We had full halls, sold out halls for 2.5 years. Like almost every time we were like, you can look back on these posts we did, they were like 200 seaters, some 400 seaters, some 100 seaters, that like it would change all over Singapore. But we were like so like surprised and grateful.
I just wanted, because I disbelief on Jensen's face, but we went to every single screening. You know, talk about the unscalable things you do. We went to every single screening.
And we met with people.
As well as we would screenshot when we see all the seats fill up.
Talk to them all, and then talk to them all after the screening, and they would come down. And once they heard the story of us, you know, 2 guys would go off to Okinawa, try and make a film, make it back. When they were moved by the film, they'd come down and they'd go, how can I support you? And we're like, we don't know, actually, because we don't really get support from these ticket sales. We make, you know, a fraction of this $10 ticket. So we could never make a film again. But they said, can I buy that T-shirt? And I had a crew T-shirt on at the time, Jimami Tofu crew T-shirt. I went, dude, we got to print some T-shirts. So next week, we printed a whole pile of T-shirts, put them on a table, and GV kindly said, yeah, who cares? It'll let you guys sell some merch.
I mean, they sell popcorn, you sell T-shirt,
That's
whatever.
right. We sold T-shirts. I had it was, you know, self-composed music, so I had CDs printed. We had tote bags. We had all this.
And Jimami Tofu.
And Jimami Tofu, real Jimami Tofu, which we sold.
That's peanut tofu from Okinawa.
Yeah.
But we had it made here.
Then people came down in the droves. They crowded around the table and started. So we would just say very simply, if you want to support us, come buy some merch if you want. And we would make more from the merchandise than an entirely full hall. And that's when we said, wow, this is really powerful. And then some people, we were so touched, would come down and say, here's $500. Give me one of everything and keep the rest. Oh, like, another lady came down and said, I want to book 5 gold class halls for my birthday of your film. Wow. One lady came 24 times, bringing over 10 people each time. Then we had families, kids bringing their grandparents, grandparents bringing their grandkids multiple times. So a lot of people came back. Oh, you saw me last week? Yeah, I brought my grandkids. We had ministers come with their children and tell their wife. Their wife came with her family. And we were like, this is incredible. That the human touch, that's what we discovered, the human touch coming being at the screening, telling your story and what was behind the film was so powerful that people wanted to connect and wanted to support. And so it got us through 2.5 years of just doing that. We just did that every Wednesday, Saturday night.
And word of mouth marketing, like
Yeah.
you cannot beat that. And organically, when it happens, it's a magical thing.
Maybe I can help explain Reggie's facial expression.
Okay, yes,
Because
please.
today is we know, you guys know that we record back to back, right?
Yeah.
Because earlier on there was another founder who doesn't rely on marketing. He
Yeah,
just rely
it's-
on the quality
it's
of his
so
product.
Interesting.
Yes.
Organic growth, no launch discount, no promo discount, and the business is thriving.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're
No,
the
I-
second one today.
Yeah. No, and I get it because just now when I was in the lift, the building is a manager, right? So then the building manager was like, oh, I recognize one of the building managers. I was like, hello. And then she was with a colleague. And then the colleague was like, hey, yeah, I listened to your show. I was like, what the hell is this?
wow.
It's like,
That's
yeah,
so
yeah.
cool.
And we've been on so many marketing meetings and there's always someone in there, so shout out to all of you. Thank you for making this work. But yeah, I think that's the beauty of that whole community, word of
I think it's
mouth.
true.
Yeah, that whole thing.
So
Yeah,
for
yeah.
any big bosses who doesn't believe, who thinks that, okay, there are flavors of the moment when it comes to
Yes,
marketing. And right now it's all
yes.
AI driven. Right now it's all vibe marketing. Use AI to generate your content. Everything, I know that. That's all efficiency and speed. But the moment you sacrifice storytelling, and they are living proof that you really can rely on storytelling and nothing else and survive. And be the longest running movie in Singapore.
I feel like we should organize a watch party.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah.
Let's
Put in the
do it.
comment section, right? Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what movie is that. I had no clue about what's going on.
Jimami Tofu.
Jimami Tofu. If you want to watch, put in the comment section Jimami Tofu.
That's right. We'll watch it using Cinewave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then let's see what happens
I
there.
need to make a hard pivot.
Yes. Okay, let's do hard pivot. Let's do hard pivot. It's dragging too long.
Because they are and then. So
Yeah,
everything is just and then. There is a start, there is an end, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
how did Cinewave? How do you
Yeah.
and then your way to Cinewave?
Oh, that's a good pivot. That's a good pivot.
It's a good pivot.
Yes.
A pivot the other direction, right, at the end of every scene. And I think that was what we realized, that when we went to cinemas, we would calibrate every hall. Because there was something very interesting that we discovered when we were on the festival circuit. We went to Hawaii and we were, at the Hawaii International Film Festival. They'd screened our film. They said, yeah, we'd love to put your film in the festival. And then suddenly our film started getting sold out because trailer and a lot of Okinawans in Hawaii, I guess the trailer tugged at their heartstrings or whatever. So they said, we're bumping you up from the 100 to the 200-seater hall. And then they said, oh, we've bumped you up to the 400-seater hall. We're like, no, please don't do that. I don't want to go to an empty cinema, at a film festival. They said, no, actually, it's sold out 2 days ago. So we're adding 2 more screenings to your film. We're like, what? What? We're nobodies. Like, who? No stars, nobodies, first-time filmmakers. So we went and we watched it. And then the person who selected our film came out and said, that was a different film than the one you sent me. And we're like, no, we don't have time to make 2 films. We didn't recut it. She said, no, I swear that you recut it or something, because that was a very different film. She was quite emotionally moved. And we said, no, that's really interesting. And so we also discovered when we sent our film as a screener to other festivals and they screened it, they watch it on a laptop in a cafe somewhere, they screen it and they're like, no, we're turning you down, whatever. We'd done that a few times, and then some of them had seen our film in a cinema and they said, those are 2 different films. We're like, it's really interesting. The whole large screen, big sound experience is very different from watching it on a laptop. Of course, we know that. But we didn't really understand how big it was until our film was in these cinemas. And of course, we would go to these cinemas and we calibrated the same way that we would calibrate our mixing studio. So we'd go in this cinema and we'd go, okay, turn on the surround sound. This part of the film, here's the time code, turn it on. And we go, no, too soft. Back speakers, louder, 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 louder. Okay, good. We hit, this decibel. Front speakers, louder, louder, louder. And they were like, what the hell are these guys doing? No one else does this. So we're like, yeah, Steven Spielberg doesn't have time to come and calibrate your speakers. We went and did that, and it was so different in every cinema. We realized, of course they can't have the same. This is a 400-seater hall versus a 100-seater hall. You can't calibrate the surround speakers, right? Properly. And by the way, when you do calibrate it properly, you're only calibrating it for the 10 people that sit in the sweet spot, right? So you're kidding yourself as filmmakers if you think that everyone's getting the surround experience. They're not really. They're not getting the real experience that you mixed, and that's when the seed of the idea of Cinewav came. It was like, most of these people aren't getting what we mixed. Only these people in the center. And only if we calibrate the cinema to a certain level, that's when we came back. And when we got the halls in GV, we said, we're essentially hiring the halls anyway. So I want to come in and I want to calibrate every hall. So we went to every single hall and we tested everything. We tested the image, mostly okay. But we were like, wait a minute, I don't hear any surround speakers. And you know what we discovered? Sometimes they weren't even on. They're like, oh, it's broken. We've turned it off.
Blown out, yeah.
Sorry, this has got to change because we're hiring your cinema. You got to replace that. That speaker's always rattling. Oh, yeah, we know that. Well, no one else complains. We're like, well, we're hiring your cinema, so we're complaining now. And they had to replace speakers in several halls before they could go ahead with our screening. And then we calibrated them, lifted the gains so that audiences experience the sorts of levels that would emotionally move them. And we discovered if we didn't do that, they wouldn't be moved. They'd come out and go, oh, very nice movie. Well done. Thank you. Don't buy anything and move on. When we lifted it to the level that we wanted, that we felt, oh, that really gets you. They came out, they would be teary. They'd come shake your hands and say, oh, thank you so much. Let me support you guys. Very, very different experience. So we realized, yeah, to move people, you have to have a certain level of sound with that music, the right levels, the right picture, the right atmosphere, and then you can really move people with a film. And they have a very, very different experience. And that's when we realized, okay, if we want to move people on scale, we have to fix the audio issue. That was the seed of Cinewav.
Before we talk about the technicalities of that, right? Like a little gossip, like where's the sweet spot?
The sweet spot will be hopefully in the center of the cinema, right? Yeah. Right in the cinema, not near the aisles, not to the sides, because, it should be calibrated to that sweet spot, but it often isn't.
Oh, so even the sweet spot is no guarantees.
No, because in a big hall, they can't afford to turn up the surround speakers really loud to hit the sweet spot because the back people will be blown away by, the surround sound. So it doesn't really work. Sound doesn't scale. And that's when we realized we can't deliver the same sound to anybody, depending on where they sit, past 50 people, 20 people.
Yeah, well, let me give them one more experience. So we were invited to Botanic Gardens to do our screening there right before our theatrical release. And it's like, oh, this is great marketing. We'd get it out to people so they know about us. And luckily, we had broken the record. Like the most people come out of the park, 2,000 people, according to NParks. And everything was magical except for that audio because, well, we had mixed this darn thing, and made sure we had the sounds of Okinawa all mixed in, beautiful music, everything, dialogue. And the minute you take it outside 2,000 people, it's just the audio's just gone out the window. And we're just like, everything's perfect except for the audio. But it was so magical to have that many people assemble in a shared community experience, So that also helped reinforce, we have got to fix this.
So what's the solution?
Yeah, so what's the solution?
So the solution was, when we do a final mix in a film, we actually put on cans like headsets, and we're a good pair of headsets because you'll be delivering your film in all sorts of different ways, right? But with the headsets, you actually get a very immersive, beautiful studio mix, right? And so we would mix that way. And we said, what if we could give everybody that mix, no matter where they sit? That's the solution. And so, yeah, when we were watching the sea of people at Botanic Gardens, 2,000 people, it was really magical, like all laughing together, sometimes crying together. We're like, this is pretty magical, but they're not really getting the full experience. Let's come back with the full experience, which is no matter where they sit, they will get the final mix in their headset. And so we said, what if we could deliver high quality audio on your phone, but just synchronize that to the picture? That way they can use their favorite headset. And by the way, even a $10 pair of wired headphones will do better than $10,000 speakers in that space because you're dealing with reverberation, echo, loss of sound, and all the, what do you call it, interference between the two speakers. So you're basically getting mono kind of, concert type sound. You're not getting all the nuances. And that's why when people started watching Jimami Tofu on Cinewav, they said, that was a different cut because they'd never heard stuff before. They said, I never heard the crickets, and I felt like the actor was sitting right here. It felt like they were talking to me. It was so personalized. It was very, very different experience.
But it sounds simple, right? Just transmit the sound file to all the mobile phones, and then you have it. Why need a startup to?
That's what we thought too. We were like, this should be easy. 2 weeks with a couple of coders. And we'll just solve our own problem. And we use it for our own film. We can travel around the world with it and do tours. And so we thought, okay, we'll just hire some tech company here in Singapore first. We'll try that and see how they go. And then failure after failure after failure. Some pretty big companies failed. And we were throwing, by that stage, like 6 months into it, tens of thousands of dollars at these tech companies. And we're like, what's the big deal? Download the file, make them sync. You know what time you started, you know what time it is on your phone, make them sync. And a lot of them thought they could do it, but fail. Doesn't sync, or syncs 10% of the time and then goes out of sync. And we're like, what's the big deal?
Next up, how Cinewav turns sound into a global business. Stay tuned!